Welcome to the BEASTwriter family, where social media engagement is encouraged. I am your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we are here with, you guys know who he is, Jerry Yang, part of the Yang and Tang show with Mike Tang. Jerry, how you doing today? And welcome back to the BEASTwriter family.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Doing pretty good today. Glad to be back on. And it's always surreal for me to be back on this show because I watch your show, every time you're on. So I feel like I'm jumping into my TV sometimes. Right? I wonder, like it's surreal. It's a surreal experience. I recommend that people call you in because it feels like you're part of the show, and you make the show, obviously, Ryan. So it's really fun coming on here. So
thank you, man. I try to make it as fun, authentic as possible.
Yeah,
I think being in the NFL media, one of the things that I came across is you get all different types of people. Some people get on their high horse. Some people say, like, I'm not going to waste time on you. You kind of have to, pay your dues before I'm even going to talk to you. That's not how I am. And again, I can't speak for anyone else. I can only speak for myself. And I was in that position before. I was the newcomer back in 2013, and I know how it feels. I know how it feels to be at first looked at and perceived as an outsider, and then having to earn your stripes. I mean, that's just in the nature of the business of any industry you're in. But at the same time, I mean, there's some sort of human element to it, to where it's like, okay, well, yeah, maybe in this position, but who am I to say that I'm just not going to talk to you just because you're Joe Schmo? Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's why anytime when somebody came in, like from would it be SF Gate or SF Bay? SF Bay was one of those real media type of outlets, right, where they rotated, right? So you had people like Sean Welchel, right? It's like Sean was in there with me. He sat actually next to me up in the press box, but he wasn't there on every single game. He wasn't there as a beat writer. He was just there on certain days, and then they would rotate, right? So and Q, she was also on there too, as part of the SFBA. So what I did was I always tried to make them feel welcome. You know what I mean? Because no one really talked to him. I'll be honest with you. No one did. None of the beat writers did. And that's not to say like, oh, it's their beat. I mean, they're busy doing their own stuff. I get it. And they just so happen to sit next to me. So the interaction's already there, right? The rapport's already been there. So that's why I always loved sitting in the front row up in the press box. I had my own nameplate. So I'm nice. On my own station. Yeah. I was right next to the coaches, actually. So I was actually on the other side of the wall, the coaches. Yeah. So I can hear everything they said the first year before they closed that down. Because I would tweet stuff, and then they'd be like,
So you get
so if
exclusive information that
way. Right. And it's not like some of the coaches wouldn't give me that anyways, because we would.
They're just feeding it to you anyways.
There used to they're on this wall right here, or let's say this wall. It used to be like a regular like window, like what you see behind me, just a window, and with blinds. But the walls are so thin, I'm sitting right here and I can hear everything. Yeah, so it's just like I hear like dang, slamming tables, and then the PR behind me, I kind of turn around, they're kind of looking like something needs to change. So what it is it's just a blank drywall now, all the way through. It's a blank drywall all the way through.
Cut you off.
They cut me off, but I can still hear. I just can't see. So I thought that was interesting. But no, it's
right?
Yeah, I just think it's a good thing, man, that's going on. Let's go ahead and
Yeah. Well, one last thing is, I guess the connections are important, right? Like you helping us out, helping everyone out. It comes back to you, right? It comes back to you, and you never know when you need someone on the way up. When you need someone on the way down, right? So it's good to have that out there. So.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and talk about the San Francisco 49ers. This show is obviously dedicated to my good friend Parys Haralson, which we'll get into at the end of the show. It's been a rough few days, I gotta say, for me. I really didn't post much. My mind was just in a different. I can't even think about what to say. It's just I'm not all here. I'm not all there. As much as I look like I'm all here, I'm really not. So I'm doing my best. So let's just go ahead and talk about the Niners. The San Francisco 49ers week 1 had a tale of two halves, I would say, right? So in the first half, they looked somewhat decent. And then the second half, they just shot the bed, right? First half, I was doing some grades on the Detroit Lions, and the San Francisco 49ers ball game. And I wasn't too happy. I wasn't too pleased with what I saw on both sides of the football, as well as special teams. You take away Dre Greenlaw's interception. And I just graded this right before we were doing this live show. It was a quarters coverage. It was a 4 deep, 3 underneath defenders. And Jared Goff he didn't have any business making that throw. What happened was Fred Warner was the curl hook defender and Dre Greenlaw was the curl flat defender. What happened was Dre Greenlaw, there was no one coming out of the flat. There's no threat in his area. So he just undercut that route and stole it. So that was an easy pick six. But aside from that, the second level backers didn't do an extremely good job. Now, I was surprised with Azeez Al-Shaair in coverage, and I've been very critical of him. In fact, he blocked me on Twitter because I've been so critical of him, and I don't care. Whatever. Yeah, I don't care if you block me. Whatever. That means, that I'm right. If I was wrong, you would
because you're more credibility.
Yeah. So whatever the case may be, and I wasn't even adding him or anything like that. But getting back to the story, I was really displeased with the 49ers run defense in the first half. I thought that was something that I predicted. I predicted this going in. I said, you know what? You lose to Forrest Buckner in 2020, and then you double down on that gains with Javon Kinlaw, who didn't even play in that game, has knee issues. And then you roll the dice by not re-signing your best pass rusher and Kerry Hyder Jr., who's now off to Seattle. And then you bring back Nick Bosa, which is great. But Nick Bosa is just one guy, And when you have defensive line playing that wide 9 scheme, you're not really going to get it done because they just gashed him in the first half. What did you see from the San Francisco 49ers, and what do you think needs to improve in order for them to really be a formidable NFC West opponent?
Yeah. So let me start off with the positives first, right? I always like to kind of go positive and then kind of talk about need to improve areas. I think from the positive perspective is I thought Jimmy G, aside from that first snap, he actually looked pretty sharp. He looked actually pretty clean. He settled down, made pretty good throws. And I think he was one of the better quarterbacks last weekend, right? And then I think the other positive, which I was kind of surprised about, I think was on Mitchell, right? Elijah Mitchell. I think he did pretty good. I was surprised by that. And who else? I'm trying to remember what else I was surprised by. I just thought overall, Deebo I think was good. I think it was refreshing that he's back. I'm really happy that he's in the lineup, right? I think that was a huge improvement there compared to what we had before with the other wide receivers. So he obviously stepped up as the number one, as a go-to, even more in kill, right? I thought he got more looks, had better schemes around him and things like that. So I think on the negative front and the need improve area, I think it's gonna be around like the usage of Brandon Ayuk. Like, where was he, right? We talk about Deebo Samuel getting everything.
Right.
I know maybe it's an injury, but 0 targets though, at least make him somewhat of a threat, right? I think that was bad. And you did mention the run defense. I think DeAndre Swift looked a lot better than he should have looked. I think he was a good back, but he shouldn't be as good as us. In the last quarters, it's kind of felt like what it was like in the Super Bowl, right? Where we lost the Super Bowl, where I felt the team just kind of gave up on everybody, or just like took it easy, right? It was starting to coast a little bit. And I think that bit us in a big way. And I know we started resting some of the starters. Maybe that has something to do with it. And we didn't rest Verrett, which is bad, right? Because now he's out for the season. Maybe that was a guy that we should have rested, But yeah, overall, I think the consistency is where they struggle. And I don't know why near the end of games we can't close, right? And I think Dan Campbell and the Lions got a lot more credit from that win. But in a lot of ways, I thought the Niners beat themselves. I think the drop or whatever by Deebo, the punch out by Deebo, that was his fault, right? Like, hold on the ball, you had the first down, like just take a tackle and let the ball get turned over after that, And then I guess another negative is Mostert. I mean, after 2 runs, Mostert's already out. We knew he was an injury risk for this whole season, but at least play a game, right? I think that's why Elijah Mitchell had such a good game there. So I mean, overall, I think it was a win, but it didn't feel like a win, right? It felt like a loss. And I think even the locker room probably should feel like that, So
the locker room is. I talked to some of the players. It was more like they let their guard down, and I think more than anything, it was a little bit deflating. Better, I could say another word, but they're very upset about the Jason Verrett. they think that's a huge blow, even more so than the Raheem Mostert blow. And the reason I say that is because the lack of depth at running back is now paper thin. I mean, you lose Jason Verrett, the boundary cornerback, where it was already paper thin to begin with.
Yep.
And then you have to sign Drake Kirkpatrick off the street. What does that say about your secondary? How much faith do you have, John Lynch? How much faith do you have, Kyle Shanahan, when you roll with D. Lenore, right? D.L. Lenore, and then you roll in with Ambry Thomas.
Ambry Thomas, yeah.
You know, now let me put that in perspective. Let's peel back another layer of the onion to get to the core. As I always like to say, D.L. Lenore was out there more times than Ambry Thomas. Ambry Thomas is primarily used as a specialist. And then we double down on that by looking at it for what it's really worth. Like, you did nothing to solidify in the second round by taking what I said. Check my BEASTwriter YouTube receipts in real time as we're doing this live stream, like we're doing this show right now. And what I said they shouldn't have traded down and got Aaron Banks. That was a horrible move. I criticized it in real time. I'm criticizing it today. The BEASTwriter's receipts check out. You do not trade from 43 to 48 and hope that Asante Samuel is going to be there. He goes one pick earlier to the LA Chargers. Now you're in a bind because you have to sign a guy like Drake Kirkpatrick, who no other NFL team wanted. And now you're spinning your wheels again. And let me put it in retrospect. Aaron Banks was a healthy scratch. You draft a guy in the second round who John Lynch said you would have gone at 43 if he was sitting there and you guys opted not to trade back, and you make him a healthy scratch. I said that he was not tailor-based for a power. He was more tailor-based for a power run scheme rather than a zone blocking scheme. And now he's deactivated for games. And then you roll down on that in the third round with Trey Sermon, who you drafted number 88, when I said, hey, you should have went after Michael Carter, who plays in the similar scheme now with the New York Jets. All this is in real time. And here we are, Trey Sermon as a healthy scratch. How many NFL teams do you know, two of their top three picks in this upcoming, or the last draft, 2021, were healthy scratches? None. This is on John Lynch. This is on John Lynch. This is on Kyle Shanahan. And it doesn't matter. You can plug Trey Sermon in and that running back with that scheme. In a zone blocking scheme, it's very easy. Me and you can play under that scheme because you know why? There's little to no instincts involved in that. All you have to do is have the vision to see the whole develop. It's already dictated for you which way you're going to go. That's why you can plug and play any other running back in that offense. What you can't do is pretend that your running back history with your players that you have on your roster are not injury prone. That's why I said maybe they should have went after Najee Harris at number 12 when they had the 12th pick. And people were like, oh, no, that's not happening. And then reports came out saying Najee himself said, you know what? I thought I was going to the Niners.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Patrick Surtain, right? They could have got Patrick Surtain at number 12.
They could have got Patrick Surtain. No, he wouldn't have been there. He wouldn't have been there.
Maybe. You never know.
Oh, from what I know. I know.
Okay, fine.
He wouldn't have been there.
J.C. Horn, there's other quarterbacks.
J.C. Horn wasn't going to be there. Right? J.C. Horn. No. The boundary quarterback.
We could get better quarterbacks, right?
The top two were off the board by 12.
Yeah, that's true.
Trust me on that. But
if you're going to trade up, might as well trade up to get them, right? Get number 6 pick with, the Eagles at the time who were willing to drop. Then you might have gotten one of those guys, right? And I think, you talk about 2 out of the top 3 guys are healthy scratches. It's more like 3 out of 3 if you think about it, right? Because Trey Lance didn't start. He played 2 reps, whatever it is. He had a touchdown pass, great. But, in reality, he wasn't a starter. So you're basically your top 3 picks. You're not using them, So it's I think this is like the same pattern from Lynch, the same old pattern. Maybe even Shanahan has to be responsible for this as well. I think
he does.
So
absolutely, it's very, very concerning. And again, I called it. People were saying, "Oh, well, we don't care if Robert Saleh leaves because we have a top 5 defense." I said, "No, you don't. You're going based on passing yards and rushing yards. That's what dictates a top 5 defense statistically." I look at scoring defense. Scoring defense is way more important. And you take the best signal caller, arguably in the whole entire NFL, top 5, and then you roll in DeMeco Ryans, And I can already see the difference in their schemes. Let me tell you. Last year, when Saleh first came in, let's backtrack. When Saleh first came in, they used a cover 3 scheme. They wanted to build up the culture identity and that single high cover 3 look, keeping everything in front. Don't get beat deep. Okay. Last year, they changed it up. They used more 2 deep safety looks than in years past. Cover 2, quarters coverage, you name it. Okay.
Yeah.
Furthermore, what happened now was when they made the switch to D'Amico Ryans, now D'Amico Ryans is being more aggressive. And I said this since day one. I said, it's on YouTube. I said they're going to be using Fred Warner, much like Bobby Wagner, as a blitzing linebacker on third downs. We've seen it. We've seen it already in week 1. Everything checks out. But at the end of the day, it's almost like, okay, so you want to play a cover 3 look, cover 1 look against the Detroit Lions. TJ Hawkinson ate up Jaquiski Tartt alive.
Yeah.
Touchdown in the first half. He had that big gain earlier in the quarter. I think it's first quarter on Jaquiski Tartt. So anytime you play a cover 3 and you have Jaquiski Tartt roaming in the box, 3 deep, 4 underneath defenders, I'm going to be attacking now. Jaquiski, my boy, but come on, like let's call it for what it is, right? Jaquiski Tartt is a traditional box safety, and one of the first things that he told me his rookie season, when I asked him, I said, "Hey, what's one of the hardest things you had to learn coming out from college to the NFL?" Because remember, he didn't play in FBS. Okay? He said it was deciphering between run and pass. If you look on that play yesterday, on that big play he gave up, that was a run play, but then it was a play action. And it ended up being a pass. So these are things that you kind of want to look for when it comes to their game. So D'Amico Ryans, I think he's not adapting to what his players do best. You don't have the scheme to play a cover 3. You don't have the personnel to play a cover 3. So why are you playing a cover 3? Just do what Robert Saleh did. Because last year, the same problems are happening this year. And you let the Detroit Lions, a laughing stock of the NFL,
look like a legit team. Yeah.
It's laughable. They should be ashamed. But because you know why? Because we all have high hopes, including myself, that the Niners are the standard in the NFC West. They are. They should have blew them out. They let them back in the game. You play down to your competition. What do you think is going to happen against the Philadelphia Eagles next week? They're no laughing stock on their own. They have some players. They have Devontae Smith.
Still on the road too.
They have Jalen Hurts. They have Zach Ertz, the tight end, who just 2-3 years removed from being an All-Pro. So they have to be able to play their splits a little bit better, especially as a hook curl defender. Because at the end of the day, D'Amico Ryans, if you're not changing it up and you're just applying pressure, thinking that's going to get it done to save face on the third levels with your boundary cornerbacks, it ain't going to cut it. It ain't going to cut it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, it's just, I just hope he figures it out. I'm going to chop it up as first game jitters, right? Because this is the first time DeMarco Ryan was on his own. So I think the next 3 games after this is going to be pretty telling, right? Because we're going to have the Eagles, like you mentioned, which is still not a top 10 team. The Packers don't look like themselves too. So, but we'll see if those are close games or if we end up losing one of those 2 games, then, I don't know. I'm scared. I'm worried, right? I think going into this game, I was feeling pretty good. First half feeling pretty good. And at the end of the game, it was kind of like, okay, we won, but we didn't really win, if that made sense, and then, but yeah, I think, like I said, try to look at the bright spots. D4 looked good. LEC's back out there, right? I mean that was a surprise. I'm just, picking fruits here, right? Because I think there were some areas where I think we did pretty well out there, and I think it's just trying to build on those strengths. And just losing for Red was huge, but look at his injury history. Are we really that surprised that was going to happen? I think the outlier was last year, so thank goodness we didn't sign a long-term contract with him. This was a proven year. He kind of proved that he wasn't going to stay healthy. So that's for him, but
right. And again, for those who are just watching, I have a BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. I posted everything in there. So everything Barry's saying, I echoed in the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. I broke it down, the injury history, what a torn ACL is, the recovery time. I even predicted that Raheem Mostert would be out for the season before it was reported that he was out for the season because I believe that he has osteoarthritis in the affected knee. If you guys want to see what happens there, tune into the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. It's a paid subscription. You're going to get your money's worth because at the end of the day, you're going to know things before they happen. Also, join us on Discord. Jerry, you know about this. Yep. He is a huge supporter of the BEASTwriter family on Discord. Join one of our moderators, actually. So join us on Discord, and you'll get things firsthand, like breaking news firsthand.
Breaking news, yeah, before everyone else. I think you
exactly
like that was awesome.
Jason Perez torn ACL. I reported that right after the game ended. So it's just like if you're not in the Discord, if you're not following on the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter, you're missing out. And hey, it's old news, man. It's old news by now. So that's why I'm just like whatever.
The newsletter's legit, dude. Because I saw the one you did on Claypool, I think for the Steelers, that breakdown, that was awesome. I loved it. I think all the clips and all your analysis was spot on there. So I haven't seen that in-depth analysis in any other place. So I think that was great. You know, stuff like that, I think is definitely worth subscribing to. So
thank you. And the thing about that is, Jerry, and I'll tell you this is now multiply that by 53 players on one team. And that's how much time, honestly, that's how much that's the grading system. You know what I mean? That's what it takes,
man. That's why they call you the Beast, you know? I don't think anyone else can really do it.
No, I mean, you can often imitate it, never duplicated, right? So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's like, this is how I like to do it. I mean, if you're going to talk about a player, at least be fair in your analysis. At least have the time and take the time. If you're going to criticize a guy like Eric Armstead, right? Like I did, take the time to watch the film and study him and be like, oh, you know, these are things that he did really well, you know, to play a little bit of devil. I always say play a little devil's advocate here, right? This is things he did well. These are things that he needs to work on and improve on.
You have to have some ammo to back it up, right? I think that's where the tape comes in and their analysis comes in, is the ammo, you know? So I want to ask you, Beast, about Ayuk. Like, is he really in the doghouse like Deebo Samuels? I think a lot of people are saying that. What do you think? You know, is he in the doghouse? Why is he in the doghouse? Because he brought an Xbox or PlayStation on the road? I heard that was a rumor too, but I don't know if you there's a
lot of rumors out there. I think it has to do more with Trent Sherfield being a better route runner than Brandon Ayuk.
Really? But he's not as athletic though, right? And the speed isn't there for Sherfield. You know, I think he's a good route runner, but
he's a better route runner. And like I said, I think I reported this on Discord. Because of his route running ability, Kyle Shanahan, actually, no, I didn't. I was talking to Jeff about it yesterday. Route running is the number one thing for Kyle Shanahan, along with hands. Hands is number one. Route running is number two. I know this for a fact.
Jerry Jeudy then? Isn't Jerry Jeudy a better route runner? I know he's hurt, but you know.
Well, yeah, Jerry Jeudy, but he wasn't available. And I mean, he was the top. Yeah, and again, in my pre-draft analysis on Jerry Jeudy, he was the best route runner coming out of Alabama.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. I think that's where I got it. But I remember he was a better route running. So yeah, so. Was Ayuk really number two? Was Ayuk the second best route runner?
No.
So then what's with the pick, I guess?
You could have got Ayuk in the second round. You could have got Ayuk in the second round, and I don't care what Kyle Shanahan says. My analytics check out, and the people I spoke with check out. So they were afraid that, let's put it this way, Justin Jefferson, and again, BEASTwriter receipts check out. I said the target should have been Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Once the Minnesota Vikings took Justin Jefferson, that's when the 49ers pulled the trigger on Brandon Ayuk because they hit the panic button. Posted it in real time. Said it was going to happen. And then people are like, no, you don't know, Brandon. Here we are.
That would be cool if Justin Jefferson was on the Niners. Like, that would have been awesome. But yeah, can't expect him to fall to you, you know?
Yeah. So getting back to it, I there's things that the 49ers need to work on. I'm fair. Like there's good things. Elijah Mitchell, 19 carries, 104 rushing yards, 5.5 yards per pop, 1 touchdown. That is the best performance by a running back. And I reported this in the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter since Ricky Waters did it in his rookie campaign, having 100 rushing yards. So again, he's creating history. But at the end of the day, is Elijah Mitchell an all-pro running back? No. Why? Because again, you can plug and play any player. Think about it. He lasted till the 5th round.
Yeah.
You plug him in a power-based run scheme, you think he can produce those numbers? No. You think Raheem Mostert can be a power-based runner between the tackles? No. These guys are scheme fits. Now, is that their fault? No. I mean, shoot, like for instance, like would I be a scheme fit being 5'5" in a half court offense? No, that's why my coach always tailored to my speed, and I was always run and gun, and I created my own shot because we're a fast-paced up-tempo offense. So being scheme dependent is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just pointing it out. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's almost like you really have to be fair. And like I said, you could go on Twitter. There's people who are saying, dude, Beast, you're right. You called this out. Injury, pro, everything, right? Mm-hmm. Not too many people want to talk about it. Why? Because they're afraid. I'm not afraid. Screw it. And if you want to prove me wrong, then prove me wrong. My job is to project to predict. It's the player's job to perform. Jerry, again, if you're going to be in the industry, in the NFL media, you have to go with what you feel. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to go with your gut, but oftentimes you have to go with how you see things playing out and what you feel. And if you don't do that, then you're in the wrong business. Look at Chris Collinsworth, right? Chris Collinsworth, one of the best NFL analysts, arguably the best NFL insider analyst in the entire NFL, said it best. If you're not in the business to be criticized, or if you're passing between a player in the locker room or wherever at the stadium because you talk bad about them, and you have to embrace them firing back at you, and you're not ready to have that 300-pound offensive or defensive lineman in your face, don't do it. Look, I've done it. I've almost gotten a fight with Tank Carradine, right? Tank Carradine stepped up to me because I said he was going to be released or traded. It checked out. The Niners knew about it. They knew when I was going in that shit was going to hit the fan, and I didn't care. I said, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to beat me up or what? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, you're trying to, like, he got in my face like this, and I'm just like, okay, so what? So I just stepped up. Like, what? What are you going to do? Like, I ain't scared. I told him, I was like, I ain't scared of you because I'm not. Now, I just said I was being fair. It's like, if you don't like it, why don't you go to the people at the top and talk to them? Because I'm just reporting what I'm hearing.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? But not everybody has the balls to go ahead and
there. You're just the voice, right? You're just passing on the news, basically, to people.
Passing on the news. And we had to be separated by players and the messenger. Yeah. And so that's what, and here, what happened? Tate Carradine was released eventually, right? He was no longer with the team.
It was a bust, right, for us? I don't remember any highlights of Tate Carradine, really.
He had all-pro talent. Tank Carradine was the strongest player on the team. And again, I was fair with Tank Carradine, just like I was fair with Eric Armstead. Okay. Mm-hmm. He was a top 15 pick before his torn ACL in a private workout leading up to that draft, coming out of Florida State. He fell to the second round. What happened was the Tennessee Titans moved up from number 40 to 34 to get Justin, what's his name? The wide receiver out of Tennessee. Justin, forgot his name. Justin Hunter, I believe his name is. Justin Hunter.
Okay.
Then what happened was the Niners dropped back from 34 to 40, and they got Tank Carradine. I thought that was a steal. I love that pick. That was the same draft as Marcus Lattimore, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think he was the 4th round pick a few rounds later. But I said Tank Carradine was a beast. I thought he was a beast. And then when Chip Kelly came in, they tried to convert a 3-4 defensive end, weighing at 300, 285, 295, 305, whatever the case may be. They hit him with body analysis. Now he's being converted to a 3-4 outside linebacker. You think that guy can convert and drop that much weight without compromising strength? You're doing yourself a disservice. You cannot tailor a player because of your ego to just run that scheme. If you don't have the personnel to run that scheme, don't run that scheme. And that's what happened with players like Tank Carradine. It happened with guys like Ronald Blair, right, who's now with this, Seattle Seahawks on the practice squad. We've seen this. Or sorry, the New York Jets. Excuse me, the New York Jets.
He's on the Jets.
We've seen it. We've seen this.
So you have examples of good fits and bad scheme fits, right? I think that's where it makes a difference. So, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, running backs are good scheme fits for Kyle. They have speed. They're a little bit smaller side, but have good hands, right? I think those are the best things.
Right.
And, for Mostert, that's the reason why he's been kind of a journeyman before he came to the Niners, right? For other teams, kind of passed on him because he probably wasn't a scheme fit and he wasn't as athletic as other running backs. But with the Niners, he was thriving because of that scheme. And I think that's what makes Kyle Shanahan kind of intriguing to a lot of fans and a lot of players is what will he do for you and what schemes he makes up for you to get you open or to get you those long yardage, right? And,
right.
I think in a lot of ways, he has like the position players and the offense pretty set. I think the problem with this team now really is getting the Kyle Shanahan of the defense, right? And getting the talent pool in there. So it's I don't know. I think we're pretty concerned or skeptical of the defense going into the season. And after that last game, especially the second half, it's, I think a lot of people were banking on Nick Bosa fixing all our problems and having D Ford, in there helped, right? But then ignore the secondary. I think the philosophy is if you don't give a quarterback a chance to pass or enough time to pass, you'll need a good secondary, right? And now we're seeing the flaws of that logic. When a guy has a quicker release, or if their offensive line is a little bit better than yours, or you lack focus, and look what happens. If you get big yardage, you have a chance to lose, and they were undisciplined towards the end, right? Like the special teams. How do you give up the ball like that with Kittle? It hit you in the head. Like you're better off not catching it. Just let the ball roll. So it's. I think there's a lot of sloppiness that happened near the end, more so than also playing to the level. I think there's a lot of sloppiness, a lot of just relaxing too early. That makes sense. So I just hope, going forward, this is a reminder. This is how we lost the Super Bowl, I think, right? Is we let someone relax. I think we should have lost that game. If Jared Goff was a little bit better, we probably would have lost, right? Like, imagine Matthew Stafford was there, we probably would have lost, I would think, So I think we lucked out. Let's just count our blessings now and look forward. Got a plan for the Eagles now, and play 4 quarters of football, not just 3.5.
Right. Thank you so much, Tony Nagatani. He says, mahalo, gents, for the super chat and super sticker. That's how we're, I really appreciate the love and support. So if you guys have any questions, send us those super chat and super stickers. That's how we're working it moving forward now. And the reason I do that is, one, I can see it from the get-go. I can post it. Also, we're short on time as we started that BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. So be sure to send us those super chat, super stickers. It really does us a great deal. And again, all proceeds get funneled back into you guys anyway. So it's not like I'm pocketing the money. It's just going back to the upkeep of the channel. Also, we're on Twitch TV. We're on Discord. We also launched, we got some BEASTwriter family. You see that?
You were saving that shirt for later, huh?
I was.
Looking good, man. Looking good. The threads are looking
I know you wanted
good.
one. There's a few people. We're having pre-orders. So again, all the people in the BEASTwriter family, all the guests, they're all getting one. It's getting shipped out to them as we speak. So yeah. So I mean, we're making.
I'll wear it. I'll wear it next time I'm on. I'll wear it. That's a sick shirt, man. We have to get the NWO version though. Remember? That's next one.
That's next. So thank you so much for the super chat and super sticker, Tony Nagatani. He's also a loyal BEASTwriter Plus newsletter subscriber. We're up to 57 subscribers right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So we're making.
There we go.
And the thing about it is, a lot of it is not even Niner fans. I would say a good 30% are Niner fans. The other 30% is Steelers fans. The other 40%, prop bets, fantasy football, insider analysis, spot on predictions. They literally go back and see my track record. And thank you to these people who actually play my whatever, right? We're not supposed to talk gambling for entertainment purposes. But literally those people reached out, hey, you got to follow this guy BEASTwriter. Like he knows the entire NFL. Like he really does. And
so
if
did
you want
they give you crap
information,
about the IU pick? I think you put like more than 3 receptions or whatever it is.
with Brandon Ayuk. I crapped the bet on that one. I post my results in real time, right?
I know. I actually really respect that. I think that was the best part of your picks is you actually go back and you lay out what's bad and what you got right, And I think a lot of people will give out picks like that. They don't do that, right? Because they're trying to like kind of brush it under or hide it, but you were really transparent about it, man. Hey. And that means I can give you crap about it too, right? So
I love it. And I love it. I love being wrong because people can be like, oh, you suck. Look at people expect the gold standard here in the BEASTwriter families. They expect me to be right. When I get it wrong, that's when they're surprised. I got it wrong with Brandon Ayuk, but with fantasy football, I was 83%. I hit on 83%. All right, 83%, guys, and 100% on the NFL Insider News regarding the whole entire NFL. So again, join us on Discord. I post stuff exclusively on Discord. I don't tweet stuff out there. And then join us in the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter because we're going to close it off. And the first month is free. So Tony Nagatani, thank you so much for subscribing to the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. Also, Fernand's Ultimate Report, thank you so much. He's a shout out BEASTwriter and Jerry Yang. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate the love. And I believe Fernand's Ultimate Report just hit 1,000 subscribers. So follow my dude.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
really, really thankful for those people in our corner. Thank you so much for his Ultimate Report. We really appreciate you here in the BEASTwriter family. He works, you know, John Jay does really good work in terms of working hard. Now he may not have all the answers, but he always puts out the news, right?
And it gets you thinking too, right? I think a lot of the stuff he puts out there, he raises good questions, you know, and he does pretty good analysis on those questions. So
absolutely. Arun Singh, thank you so much for the super chat and super sticker. We're just rolling these in, and again, this is how we're going to do it nowadays. Arun Singh, thank you so much from Big Boss Man's Pizza. This is not a paid promotion, but we still have to hit up Big Boss Man's Pizza. Jerry, I think you'll be down. I think we should do a live stream from Big Boss Man's Pizza.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Let's do one. I got to talk streams. Let's do it. I
got to talk to my coach. I'm back on prep for my contest prep for my show. I'm going for my pro card, so I am on a strict diet. I told Arun Singh this already. But I do have a cheat meal. He allows me one cheat meal has to be under 700 plus calories. I can't tell you the exact amount, obviously. That is confidential information. But I mean, 700 calories. What is that? One pizza? One slice of pizza?
One pizza. No beers, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. All right. So he has a question. He says, thank you so much. And if you have questions, do what Arun Singh is doing. Send us a super chat and super stickers. It keeps us on topic. And that way the flow of the show would be seamless. All right. So he says, I like cornerback signing from yesterday. Why not sign Darquez Dennard or Quentin Dunbar instead of Johnson? Well, Kerryon Johnson. Kerryon Johnson is running back.
Well, Dante Johnson. I think he's mentioning Dante Johnson because a lot of people were really disappointed in his performance, right? Because he gave up I think he gave up 2 scores, if I'm not wrong. But he looked like he was being picked on all game, right? So I think that's where people are getting this from. So tell us your analysis on that. I'm curious, man. Because
Dante Johnson is Dante Johnson. I know him personally, obviously, because I worked with him when he was drafted. Dante Johnson was a 4th round draft pick during the Harbaugh era. All right. And during that time, yes, he was a holdover. And so Dante Johnson had the similar skill set in terms of physique as a Chris Culliver. The difference between the two players, Chris Culliver is actually a good friend of mine. I was actually his insurance agent before covering the 49ers. So I know his family. I know his parents. So we talked
way back.
with a lot of the players. I was actually a lot of the 49ers players' insurance agents before covering the team. Yeah.
Was that your way in?
I literally know their
way in. You just did their insurance and then they let you in the locker room and then you got
if they trust you with their money, they're going to trust you with insider analysis. That's all I got to say about that. So anyways, getting back on topic, that's a little fun fact for BEASTwriter, BWF. No, getting back on topic though, you know, with Dante Johnson, in regards to Dante Johnson, I just don't think he has it. DJ, I like you. I think you're a great guy. However, if anything, there's a reason why they're rolling with guys like Drake Kirkpatrick. There's a reason why they brought in guys like Josh Norman.
Right,
there's also talk about possibly bringing back Richard Sherman. And let me tell you something. Richard Sherman is not high on their priority list. He's not. What I've been told is he's not high on the priority list. He's kind of on the back burner because we don't know what kind of game shape and conditioning he is in. Remember, he's also coming up in injury.
Mental state too, right? Because I think that's the bigger concern. All those other things.
Yeah, you don't want
head in the game, right?
Yes, I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go there, but
sorry, dude. I had to go there because I think that's the number one concern in my opinion, right? I think the getting in shape, getting in football shape, you can work on that. The mental state, a little bit tougher, you know what I mean? It's like
mental,
and that's not an indictment on him per se. I think it's just the situation he's in, right? If he can get his mental state back in, I think he'll get a lot more people knocking on his door.
Right. So, yeah, okay, says, I love you, Beast. Always keep it real, bro. Just like me, I was saying Kyle Shanahan needs to go after the season if he can't get it together with the whole quarterback situation. Seriously. Yeah. I think who needs to go or who should be on the hot seat, even though he's not. I think John Lynch. I think it all starts with John Lynch. I like Kyle Shanahan. I do think he has a little bit of an ego. I mean, I said it since he does. He does have an ego.
He's a cocky bastard. Let's just say it out loud.
he is.
Love him, but he's cocky as hell, right? I think there's a lot.
Yeah. Why do you chase points? Why do you chase points when there's no need to chase points?
Exactly. Right.
Why do you run the ball in the Super Bowl 20 times when you easily could have won the Super Bowl by just gashing down the throat? Mm-hmm. Why do you do these things, Kyle Shanahan? And it's easy for us to criticize because we're not the one in that position, but common sense would tell you don't chase points when there's no need. The need isn't there, dude. What the heck are you doing, bro?
Yeah. Like you can't win every game by 20 points, right? You're gonna end up losing by 20 points by doing that, in the
But
next game.
I think Kyle's. I do have his back in terms. I think he should be the coach. I think he's a great offensive mind. With all that being said, I think he's a top 3 offensive mind in the NFL, along with Andy Reid and a few others. But at the end of the day, it's almost like this: if you're not adapting, you're dying. Okay, if you're not adapting, you're dying. And again, Trey Lance, in my opinion, because I see how this is going, I don't think the 49ers defense is that good. I said it before the season began. I said they're going to finish in the middle, top 15 in terms of scoring defense, not passing yards and rushing yards, not total defense that way. Scoring defense. They'll be a middle of pack team. Because when you look at the NFC West and you look at Matthew Stafford did, and you talk to what Steve Young just said yesterday on Monday Night Football, the Rams are the real deal. The Seahawks are the real deal. And then he brought up the Niners as the third option. He had to bring in them up there. Like, yeah, the Niners are a powerhouse too, but
that's his team too, right? I mean, he was a Niner, so
he was a Niner.
Everyone in NFC West won, right? Everyone's 1-0 in their division. So, and we're the one I think had the toughest win, right? One of the toughest at least. So it's like, yeah, I don't know.
It's just interesting. It's just interesting. Fortnite's Ultra Report, thank you so much for the super chat and super sticker. I really appreciate it. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to formulate our podcast or our BEASTwriter family stream based on the super chat and super stickers that we get. He says, should 49ers fans be worried about Javon Kinlaw's knee? Some fans think he would be a bust due to injury concern. Hey, look, that's a great question. I said this in real time once they traded freaking DeForest Buckner on my very first YouTube video. I put it out there that Javon Kinlaw was not a bust, but he was a proverbial boom or bust prospect. Why? I broke it down in there just like I broke down my Chase Claypool analysis on the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter, and I spoke about the lack of pass rush moves. He is physically gifted based on the physique, but fundamentally sound. He plays with a high pad level, doesn't have an array of pass rush moves, not consistent enough in his run fits for me to warrant him and give him that 14th overall pick grade that they traded when they could have had Tristan Wirfs at 13. Again, all this is on Twitter. All this is on YouTube. The BEASTwriter family receipts, check out. So is it a surprise for me? No. And that's his biggest inspiration because he came back at me through Twitter before deleting his account and deleting that tweet saying an empire wasn't built overnight. Yeah, well, no crap. But at some time, you're going to have to start building that up.
Where is the empire right at this point?
Brick by brick. Brick by brick. And again, I'm not throwing shade at Javon Kinlaw. He has he has Pro Bowl potential. I think he has Pro Bowl potential. I'm not going to call him a bust. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
That's unfair.
Do you think the injury, I guess the concern is the injury, right? Do you think he can bounce back from the injury that he's had? Obviously it's not as bad as Verrett's ACL tear, right? But it still made him miss a game, which is a big concern. Like you think by now he'll be ready to go. Do you think he'll miss week 2? It's looking like he will.
I'm told it's day to day right now.
Okay.
But
so that's
again,
I guess looking on the flip side though, if he were healthy, how much will he add to the Niners defense? Maybe you can talk a little bit about that, right? Like what areas will he fix up? I think the run defense he'll probably fix up, but what else do you think would help?
I think that Javon Kinlaw is very much needed in terms of being a run defender and being that 3 technique who can really stop the run. Remember, Eric Armstead is now kicked outside the defensive end, especially on passing downs. Even in run downs, he's still kicked outside.
Yeah.
When you have guys in the middle like Kevin Givens, he's not very good. He's serviceable. He's average. In my grading system, I would say 5 out of a 10, with 5 being average. He's about average, a little bit above average. I say 5.5 out of 10. When you look at guys and down the line and you see guys like DJ Jones, he's a stout run defender, but he gets tired. He's a bigger defensive lineman. You're going to have to rotate these defensive linemen in and out. Kerr, horrible, below average. Okay, so what kind of depth do you have on that?
I don't think I've even heard that guy actually until this season, right? I've never even seen his name, so I think there's a reason why then.
Steve Kerr?
Oh no, you're talking about Steve Kerr?
No, it was a joke. It was a joke.
What are you talking about here, man?
Yeah.
So okay, if Givens is a 5.5, then was Kinlaw the 9 or 10? Then is that your standard when you grade him? Is that
no? So
how big of an impact would it be? Right? Would it completely change that defense, or does it help you?
That's a great question. In my grading system, it's a two-pronged grading system for me. I grade based one specifically on the run grade, and then you get a specific grade for the pass rush grade. Now, again, it all depends on the defensive front seven player because not all players based on the scheme are going to be used in that similar role. Like a situational pass rusher, I'm not going to give him a run passing grade like D Ford. It's just not fair to give him that grade because, again, the sample size that you're pulling from what the 49ers are asking, it's not very fair to place a grade on him when the sample size is so small to pull from when he's told to rush the passer and he's giving up outside or inside leverage on the tail end on that run fit integrity. All right. So that's why you really have to know the scheme. You really have to know the dynamics of the player to run that grade. So 6.5 out of 7 is a Pro Bowl level player. 6.5 to 7 out of 10. 5 being average. 7.3 and above is all pro. And again, I place these grades on the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. I also place some of these grades up on Twitter before PFF puts out their grades, and they mirror each other for the most part, right? So
So Kinlaw's like a 6, probably maybe 6.5.
No. So I can pull up those. You know what? That'll be a BEASTwriter Plus newsletter. I'm going to do that.
Let's do it. That's the next one. I'll look out for it.
Okay,
maybe that's a good tease for people, right? Let's just in the newsletter, maybe just give us a breakdown of some of these injured players and how you grade them, right? Because I think that's what people are curious about. If certain guys are healthy, how does it improve the team, right? Think of Trey Sherman, for example.
Sure.
If he's back in the lineup without Mostert, does that give a boost to the running back core, or do the running core stay the same because they run a, let's say like by design, right? By committee, running back by committee. So does that not help a lot? So I think I'll be curious to hear about that. So maybe in the newsletter, break down a little bit on how some of these guys help and how some of the guys are average too. I think, Kevin Givens, I think a lot of people are pretty high on Kevin Givens in a lot of ways. So to hear that you say he's average, I think that would be good to hear about that, right? So it'll be great.
I'll definitely put that out there. The thing about it is, being a member of the PFWA, we're still waiting on the coach's film. It was supposed to be back today. They said week 1. We get it every Tuesday. I don't see it in my NFL Game Pass. So it's going to be hard for me to give exact grades because I don't have the vantage point of the coach's film.
I don't think there's a rush anyways, right? So maybe on this week sometime.
Yeah. But then I do my best. I do my best based on what I see. And for defensive linemen, it really doesn't matter. As long as you have that vantage point, you see what techniques the defensive linemen are lined up and the second level backers, how they're playing the splits on the second level. I don't care about the secondary, what coverage shell they're in, because more times than not, if it's not a pass, and we're talking about guys like Kevin Givens, it's more mainly stopping the run anyways. So
one thing I would say is, as an average fan, right? Me being an average fan,
I
think it's more obvious to us on offense where people look good, right? If people are bad or good, you find out really quick on the offensive end. On the defensive side, I would say it's a little bit harder unless they give up a big play, and even that, you see a bunch of people try to miss tackles, right? So you don't really see where the play breaks down. I think. That's where I think you can help us as average fan, understand more about the defense. As a defense, it's just unclear unless you play the game or you're like a defensive mind, like DeMarco Ryan is, right? So it would help.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna do it. It takes a long. That Chase Claypool article took me 5 hours.
Of course, I can imagine. I saw the detail in that article. That's why I had to give you props for that, because I knew that had to take a lot of time because you got the specific film, the data to go with it, and you kind of paint the story, right? Which I really liked, right? Because I actually didn't watch that game. I only watched on Red Zone, so it saw some flashes. But the way you broke it down gave a kind of a script to it. I liked it. And I think that's why defense is really hard, and that's why fantasy football, you really focus on offense most of the part, right? There's a reason why. There's some leagues that have defense, I get that, and those are considered the harder leagues. It's because we don't know that much about defense, as an average fan. So
so that I will definitely put some IDP stuff in there, a lot of in-depth. And again, man, if we did this last year with the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter, we'd be making money, bro. Like, it would not even be fair. Because again, in fantasy football, it's all about statistics. Fantasy football is a box score game. I'm not a box score reader, but if I'm looking for fantasy football, here's some free fantasy football advice for you guys who are in IDP leagues. Go after guys who get a lot of targets. All right. So don't go after necessarily the household names. Go
Well,
after
that's why
guys
Corey Davis did so well, right? Corey Davis was the obvious number one now because he got a lot of targets. So
Yeah.
that's a
Right,
good one.
right, exactly. Look at the target share, but then you also have to look at the schedule, and then you take it, peel back another layer of the onion, and look at the matchups. Because NFL is a game of matchups, whereas in basketball it's a game of matchups too. But going into it, you have to stop a trio of players, and then you're good to go. The other guys are just complementing each other. With football, it's a little bit different because you have to know the dynamics of the game. You kind of have to predict time of possession. You're also going to have to predict how many turnovers a team's going to have that will take away that position and give more targets for the opposing offense. So these are things that you have to kind of run down, and then that's not even starting on the grading system. Yeah, so there's
I
a
would
lot
say
of
also look at the home, right? Like who's home, who's away, and look at the weather for the day. That kind of changes
that's
the way
huge too.
the plays play too. So I always kind of check that. I think right now, since we're still at the end of summer, it's not as important. But there's some places that are raining, right? And near the end, there's gonna be places that are snowing. That's gonna change the dynamics, right? If it's really cold out there, that's gonna change it too. If it's turf versus grass, I think that makes a difference as well sometimes. So it's
I thought you said
there's a lot of things that you look
I thought you said ASS. I thought you said turf versus ASS. I was like, wait, what?
versus ass. No. We know where our head's at now. I get it. It's
I was like, wait, what?
Grass, bro. The thing that's free on the ground.
Oh, we have fun here in the BEASTwriter family. Before and again, yeah, I think the Niners are in a tough spot, but at the end of the day, the BEASTwriter Plus newsletter, I'll go ahead and right after I get off, I'm gonna have to hit the gym, and then I'm gonna go ahead, gather my thoughts, talk to some people that I know in the BEASTwriter Family Network, and then I'll go ahead and shoot some expectations for Javon Kinlaw, because I think Javon Kinlaw is good. Javon Kinlaw, if you're watching, because I know you probably are, because you at me, even though you don't follow me, but you still at me before, as your biggest inspiration, your words, not mine. I'm telling you, you have the Pro Bowl talent. I'm just pushing you with constructive criticism, my man. I think you're going to be a great player. You just need to put it all together and be more consistent, and something that I think that you have the tools and skill set to pull from.
So, Beast, I guess before we wrap up, maybe you can give me like your top 3 players on the Niners that you were most impressed with, and then maybe the bottom 3 people you thought you were disappointed.
Okay, so
I think that'll be a good breakdown because I'm curious myself, right, on what you think about that. So.
Well, I only graded the first half, and that took me about 13 hours. First half
overall, right? Like stats aside, whatever. Okay, just like who did you like from the eye test? I guess who do you think was the top 3 and who's the bottom 3 for you?
I would say in terms of the offense, all right, I like George Kittle. I thought he played very well. Deebo Samuel obviously was one, and I like Trent Sherfield. I think those 3 guys were playing lights out. I think
where did Sherfield come from? What's his story too? Because I think he really impressed everyone in the preseason. Obviously has a chemistry with Trey Lance, right? That's why he got the touchdown. Right. One throw touchdown was because of Trey Lance. Like, where did he come from? Was he friends with Trey Lance? Like, was there a history there or what?
I don't know the exact history of it, but I do know he was working with Larry Fitzgerald, and Larry Fitzgerald is kind of the guy who kind of mentored him along the way. So that's why I'm not surprised that Trent Sherfield is ahead of Brandon Ayuk on the depth chart. And I think it's quick to point out, and I will say this: there's also a reason why Brandon Ayuk was the primary team's punt returner and listed as on the unofficial depth chart as a primary punt returner. Because let's face it, if he was a true wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, he wouldn't be returning.
They wouldn't risk that. No way, man. Yeah, you're right.
So I would say
bottom 3 is Ayuk on your bottom 3 then.
No, I would also put in Elijah Mitchell. There's 4 offensive guys, so I have to put Elijah Mitchell in there. Okay, so if you want to talk defense, guys that shined, I mean, Jimmy Ward. I think Jimmy Ward's still good. Nick Bosa, obviously. I would have to say D Ford. I would have to say D Ford. I would say the 2 edge rushers and Jimmy Ward on the back end.
How excited to see D Ford back like in this shape? I don't think anyone was really expecting that. Actually, I think that was the pleasant surprise that that he was as good as he was. I think people thought he was going to be scarcely used, but I saw his number out there a lot more times than I thought it would. So
one more guy. I'm going to say 4 guys, and I was hard on him. I talked about him a little bit earlier.
Top 4, go for it.
Aziz Al-Shair. I think he did a tremendous job in coverage. He's a guy who really came on strong. So he's a guy that I want to give props to. Again, I'm fair. Last year, I mean, there's a reason why he blocked me on Twitter. But hey, man, you sucked. Now you're turning it up. I'm fair. I'm telling you, I'm giving
I
you
love
hype.
it. I
I'm
love
saying,
it.
hey,
I love the transparency.
don't
I
care.
love how you give it like that.
Yeah,
So but I also like how you give him credit back, right? That
yeah,
was not a guy I would have given credit for because mainly because it's only one game, but then we're only talking about one game. So I guess to
yeah.
be fair, I think you're around.
Right, right. Well, all right, Jerry. Thank you so much
Okay.
for joining us in the BEASTwriter family. Here, we're gonna do this with Jerry Yang every single Tuesday, Taco Tuesday at 1 p.m.
Taco Tuesday.
And
We'll get
again,
tacos next time too, right? Like pizza and tacos.
if we can, if my coach
I'm
let
just
me,
trying to make you hungry. I'm sorry, dude.
yeah.
Like sushi, steak. I'm just sending out pictures to you all the time of good food. So
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jerry, and we'll talk soon, buddy.
all right, see you later, man. Thanks.
That was Jerry Yang. All right. So I just want to go ahead and touch base on some news. If you guys haven't heard, my good friend and dear friend Parys Haralson passed away at the age of 37. Uh, I already know the diagnosis and how he passed. I'm not going to release that. ESPN hasn't even put it out there because they don't know, but I do know. He was a good friend of mine. I actually talked to him not too long ago. It's been a very difficult time for me, family, friends, and even at 4:37 a.m. I spoke with a former 49ers player who is also good friends with Parys, and we just kind of talked a little bit about the situation because it really hit home for all of us. And I'm a year older than Parys, so again, we're on that same wavelength, and thoughts and prayers go out to Parys and his family. And during this difficult time, it's really difficult. I didn't really want to work yesterday. My mind was kind of boggled. Again, talking with players, coaches, front office people within the organization, having worked with the 49ers along with Parys for the last, over the course of the last decade, really made some connections there. And we're all just hurting. We're all just in shock. So again, Parys, I know you're watching us. God definitely gained an angel, and thank you for all your love and support for the BEASTwriter family, for me, for pushing me to be the best in everything that I do, for striving for perfection, for laying a helping hand whenever it was needed, to extend that helping hand. Not too many people do that, and also ultimately putting your others before yourself. I think these are things that I learned from, and I'll continue to model my lifestyle after yours, because again, you were just full of life, and without you, I definitely wouldn't be in the position I am today. So thank you so much, everybody here in the BEASTwriter family. Thank you so much for the super chat and super stickers. Hope everyone has a very blessed day. Mahalo for today. That'll be it for this live stream. BEASTwriter out.